Well, welcome to our podcast down here at Ag City, a little piece of heaven on Junction T and 7. Just about four. We've had a debate on how far we are from 49 Highway, but we call it 4 miles. Some people call it 5 or 6, but we're just south of Harrisonville on 49 Highway on your way to Clinton. Beautiful view going down this road and down at 13. So a lot of people come by here with going to the lake, having a good time. But Ag City is kind of a special place, and today we're really happy to have Dan, and he works with Brewbakers and on the tiny homes, and we're just going to talk a little bit about the tiny homes, all the exciting things that he has, all the things that he has to offer here on the corner, a little place of heaven on Junction T and 7 at Ag City. So it's all happening here. And Dan, why don't you kind of share with us a little bit your history and how you got started and how Brewbakers have kind of taking this message and moving forward on all the things that you build. You build everything from chicken houses to everything.
Yep, sure. For me, Brew Bakers was a company before I got involved. And just a little bit of history for me getting involved with them. Um, I'm a hauler. I transport. I work for a guy transport company. We move portable buildings. That's what we do. So that's how I got connected with Norman Brubaker, the owner of Brubaker's Portable Buildings.
Right.
And this was 3, 4 years ago, probably, and he had started out when he was in his early 20s. He had started out as a doing construction,
Sure.
on-site stuff. He had a crew, and when the portable building industry was booming in the area, he saw an opportunity and took it.
Started his own business.
Started his own business.
And
Um,
these are actually this is an Amish built building.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're Amish people. They call themselves Old Order Mennonite, Rich Hill area. Anybody familiar with the area probably knows of them.
Sure.
Probably had run-ins with them. Good people, great to work with. So I made the connection by hauling buildings for them. Well, they don't have technology. He needed somebody to promote his product.
Sure.
So here we are. I started several different lots. We have 3 locations currently. This being the third one, started last year.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. Been a
Um,
great relationship, and we really like it. A lot of people come here and look at
yeah,
stuff, and they actually buy directly from Brewbakers or
correct,
yourself. Yeah.
correct. Yeah. Most people, yeah, will contact me directly, which is, my phone number and all that. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of the history of the company and how I got into it. And it keeps growing. He started out, actually started out in his dad's barn, because, like I said, it was a side project.
Sure.
He
Sure.
was doing construction. It was
Sure.
a side project. Just this past year, he now built his shop, big shop, and he's doing out of there. So it keeps growing, and
And he's a
it's a
young
good
guy,
company. He's a
pretty
young
young
guy.
guy.
He's a young guy. He's
And
probably his mid 20s,
yeah,
maybe upper 20s, but yeah,
yeah.
yeah, young guy. Has a full-time crew. Still doing some, on-site stuff, but this is his focus. This is his focus. And yeah, he's just really this is his goal. This is what he wants to push. Saw an opportunity, like you mentioned, the tiny homes.
Sure.
Do everything from chicken coops, um, your backyard portable building, But I saw an opportunity for chicken coops. Excuse
Tiny
me,
homes. Yeah.
tiny
Yeah.
homes. Um,
And we're going to talk a
so
little bit about the tiny
yeah,
homes on the second go around, but if I understand right, you've actually you've delivered some tiny homes clear out there in the floodplains out there in the Carolinas.
North Carolina. I
Yeah. Yeah.
was I myself, being the hauler, was in Nashville, North Carolina last December.
Yeah.
Quite the experience. It really was. It was life changing, I think you could
Well,
say.
and I think that's, you're where they have a crisis. The tiny homes just make all kinds of sense.
Yeah.
And, it just, but even when we went, Emily and I took a trip and we wanted to go see all that, just all that areas. And recently, we've actually looked at Richards Gabar Air Base over there where they fly for the big airplanes
Hmm.
flying it. And they're doing so the tiny homes things, we'll talk a little bit back to the second half, but there's just a revolution of people. And Dan, what we see here is a lot of people want to get out in the country.
Yes. Yes.
and whether they're kids or whether they're older folks, and then how affordable it is. And you go buy a lot in town and you spend anywhere from 30 to 50 thousand dollars, and then you got a 250 to $600,000 home and a big mortgage, and so. We're trying to fit, where young people or old people, either one really fit. We're trying to figure out ways that they can experience, this rural lifestyle,
Right.
move out and
Right.
have a chicken coop
Yeah.
and raise some chickens
Yeah.
and have a neighborhood, and that's why we call this Ag
Yeah.
City. So we have a whole bunch of businesses around here, and we're all buying into the same philosophy: a better way of life for our young people.
Yeah. Self-supporting, right? It's
It's
always
self-supporting.
been, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I was raised that way. That's what I would recommend for anybody. Yeah.
So you're kind of
And
an entrepreneur.
little bit, a
Hmm.
little bit. Try to, yeah, try to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, and even doing what I do, I'm Brubaker's the only one I haul for. So the tiny homes in this area around the lakes, and the quality is just from experience. I have lived in the mobile homes, and the quality of mobile homes over years has improved.
Hmm.
But just you take a tiny home for the price and the quality you get, you can design it how you want it. You can do whatever you want on the inside of it. And you got a solid
Right.
building. You
Right.
got 2 by 6
Yeah.
walls. You
Yeah.
got,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Well, I tell you
saying?
what, we're going to take a little break here, and we're going to come back and talk more about the tiny homes and what we're doing here in Egg City and what you have to offer and what Brewbakers do. I was down to Brewbakers one Saturday, and he toured me around, and they're just a great family. And I mean, you go in there and you know that you're going to get quality and you're going to get trust. And so the relationship with us started a little over a year ago,
Yep.
and now that we're here and we're trying to support all that tiny home movement. But anyway, we'll talk more about that on the second half. And so we'll be right back with Dan, and we'll be talking more about the exciting things on things that he builds, not only tiny homes, but all the chicken coops, all the other things that would come along with it. So we'll be right back. Well, we just want to do a little commercial here between Dan and Brubaker's Buildings, and we're really happy to have him here. We do want to plug his business and just remind you, I'm going to give you his phone number again. You can always get a hold of him. It's 814-280-7682, and that's Brubaker's little buildings. And so that's a really good thing. So I just want to always kind of use this time to promote Ag City and our and all the things we do down here in Ag City and all the things, all the businesses we have here. We've got up to about 14, 15 businesses here on the corner. They provide a lot of good quality services. Remember, just a little piece of heaven here at Junction T and 7 on the way to Clinton, Missouri, on down to the lake. So we have all of this stuff going on here and all these businesses. So we just want you to stop by Egg City, visit Still Metals. We did some stuff with them yesterday. They're doing pizzas on Thursday nights, and they're doing all this cool stuff. There's Airbnbs, and then there's Artisans, or no, Artisans is actually in Harrisonville. That's another place I should talk about. They have a fantastic place there on the square. It's not part of Egg City, but that is one of the places that I've got another daughter and son-in-law that run that place, and it's if you ever on the square, down historical square in Harrisonville, you stop by Artisans. That's a really beautiful place, and you can always stop by headquarters. Headquarters is another really nice place up there. So there's some things around here, just not right here at Ag City, but around Ag City. You can do Little Dixie, Yaya Farms. There's so many things that you can come and see and do. So just remember, join us down here at Ag City for a great time. Putting in a visitors bureau. We'll have that up and done here. Hopefully in the next 60 days, and so you can come and see maybe a little museum. We're working on a museum, a virtual museum, and we got a big event coming a year from now. So I mean, there's a lot of excitement here at a little piece of heaven on Junction 10 and 7 down here at Ag City. Just come and check us out. And thank you. We'll get back to Dan. Well, welcome back, and we're back with Dan with Brubaker's Tiny Homes, and so, I guess it's Brubaker's Buildings. So we're going to talk just a little bit more about all the things that his company offers and kind of the way he does it, and also the quality of the product. And so, Dan, why don't you just jump in here and just touch base? How many different types of buildings do you offer?
Well, off the top of my head, so there's a utility building. That's your standard backyard,
Sure. Hmm.
simple, cheap, and um, comes, obviously we do, custom orders, but these, as they come standard, that's just a no windows, box in your backyard. There's the lofted barn. Those are pretty common. People seem to like that. You get the extra loft area in the top.
So more storage.
More storage,
Yeah.
right? There's also, and they have the barn style roof, two pitch roof. We
Okay.
offer something very similar called a garden shed. Has the loft in it, but it has the peak style roof instead of,
I
because we
see.
care
Yeah.
about the look.
Sure.
And then you get into cabins. We have the porch, the cabins with the porch. We can do either style. The barn
Yeah.
style or
Yeah.
just the A-frame.
A-frame
Either
style.
way with
And
that.
what kind of
Um,
length do they come into right now?
so the biggest we can do is 16 by 40.
16 by 40
That's our
legally. Yeah.
max. That's
Yeah.
our max.
That's your max.
That's why he's
So
set
how
up
many
to build
square
it.
feet? 16 by 40. That's like
I want to
560.
say 500 and probably.
Yeah, around
Yeah,
560
yeah,
square feet. Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Um,
And you can put a loft in it if you want to,
Correct,
depending on,
correct. Especially the gambrel, the
yeah.
barn stall
Yeah.
ones. There's a
Yeah.
lot more room upstairs in those, and that's very common actually.
So that'll add to
Um,
your square footage, probably another
correct,
120 square feet. So you
correct,
could get a building somewhere 600 and almost maybe 670 square feet, something in that area with
correct.
a porch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then he just designed this one now. It actually has a porch instead of in the end. It has a porch coming into the side,
I see. Cool.
and that'll be nice.
Yeah.
There's other manufacturers that have them, but it's a new product for him. They're nice. Um, Also, the chicken coops. We had talked about chicken coops
Sure.
earlier. We have chicken coops. Those we can all. There's a standard size we stock. We can order, custom build,
So
whatever.
your standard chicken coop, how many, like 12, 15, 20
We
chickens?
say so. The standard, just most common, the one we have sitting out here on your
Sure.
lot is a 6 by 12, split in half. Half of it's coop, half of it's run. We say 8 to 10, 12 chickens. If
And
you
they,
free range them, you could probably put 15 in.
okay,
But
okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And
Um,
you can feed them from the outside and gather the eggs from the outside.
yeah,
They're pretty cool.
yeah, nest boxes, everything from the outside, yeah, and they're tall enough you can walk in. That's
Yeah,
the common problem. You get these little chicken coops, you can't walk in. They're
yeah.
just 4 feet tall. So that's what one thing people seem to like about them.
You can get in and walk around
Yeah,
and do whatever you
yeah,
need to inside.
yeah,
Yeah, cool, cool.
yeah.
And you
Our
got deer
build
stands.
got deer stands
Yeah,
almost free
that's
right
very
now.
popular too.
Those get Yeah, we sell a lot of those. 4 feet off ground.
Yeah,
We sell them just a blind if you don't want them elevated. We
yeah,
can we can do just a box.
yeah.
So those are pretty cool. They're a pretty hot item actually.
Yeah,
Sell
the
quite a
deer
bit of them.
stands seem to be moving
Uh,
pretty good, and the chicken coops need to be.
yeah,
But they, you also have for those gardeners, you have a little greenhouse,
we do.
and that's
We do
pretty
have a
cool. Yeah,
greenhouse.
those
Yeah.
little greenhouses are really pretty cool.
Again, there's kind of common sizes we stock. We have a 10 by 12 and a 6 by 12 sitting here now, um, but can order any size.
Yeah.
We do custom orders, so we can
So
provide that.
when people want to get a hold of you, you got several buildings setting here, and we're talking about how we can bring some tiny homes in here. But how do people get a hold of you?
So I'm the best way. Contact me is your best option. Like I said, we're talking Amish here, so
Yeah,
there's no way to contact him.
yeah.
I try to take all his phone calls, and so that's my phone number is 814-280-7682.
So again,
Um,
real slow.
814-280-7682.
Okay. Because a
Um,
lot of people like me, they listen slow.
yeah.
Okay, okay.
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
I say it way too fast. Um, or you can reach out email, brubakersportablebuildings@gmail.com. That's
Brewbakers. Now let's spell Brewbakers. BR.
Brubakers,
Yeah.
Brubakers,
Okay.
portablebuildings@gmail.com.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
Either way, those are the two best options to reach us.
That's
Um,
fantastic.
yeah.
Well, and so that's really good, and it's good way. Now let's talk about the way you deliver. This is so cool. I've watched you. I think you're gonna deliver a little tiny home up here, maybe this next Tuesday.
Tuesday morning's the
Yeah,
plan. That's
yeah.
the plan. Probably around noonish. So
So, and the cool thing is watching you take that. You kind of tell people how you actually deliver that building, pick it off, and handle it. And I said earlier you could deliver it about any place. Well, you said there's some places you've been, but I've watched you deliver
yeah,
these things,
yeah.
and the way you deliver is just fantastic.
Yeah, and honestly, being it's what I do, it's a lot easier than most people realize. I'll just say that.
Yeah,
Obviously,
me for one of them.
obviously, there's also, especially when you get into the bigger tiny homes, you need a lot of room. That there's that. But that being said, there's a machine called a mule.
Mhm.
If you're not familiar with it, you can go on YouTube, Google mule shed mover, and you'll be able to find all kinds of videos. They're really really cool. It's a brilliant design. Whoever come up with it. Um, and it moves the shed just about, if the shed fits, I tell people it can probably go. It's literally the little machine. I need about 6 feet longer than the shed to work with to get it in the
I've seen you
spot.
park these things.
Yeah.
Unbelievable how you can put them in and nail them and slide them and do. Now, with that said, what would you, if somebody's just having a spot to drop one of these buildings, I mean, of course, if they wanted really solid, they could put a little concrete pad, or a lot of that stuff is just delivered on gravel or fine gravel or dirt
Yeah,
or,
I honestly, I mean, like you said, concrete's, great. I honestly recommend gravel because the water can drain off. If your concrete pad isn't poured just right and water sets on there, it's actually worse than just sitting on the ground.
oh, I
You
see.
know what I'm
Sure.
saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So gravel is, probably the best, especially the bigger buildings.
Right.
A lot of your backyard buildings will just get blocked on the
Yeah.
dirt, and that's fine.
Yeah.
They may settle, but usually they're fine. We block them good. Um,
Well, I think the
so
only thing about the settling, that is challenging is the doors.
correct, correct.
And one thing you were talking about, like on these tiny buildings, that you build your buildings a little bit, well, I don't want to say better, because I'm sure there's somebody build them similar, but the stuff I've seen, the quality that Brubaker's has and what you're doing is just phenomenal. And you were talking about, the kind of lumber you use, and then also the material underneath the tin. It's really important for them to understand, in that building how tin sweats, and so you might touch base on that part of your product.
Sure, absolutely. So yeah, like I was telling you on break, is the floor joists are 2x6, pressure treated 2x6. Everything from below the floor, everything's pressure treated. That's pretty important. And we use 2x6. There's a few other companies that will, but most commonly you'll see 2x4.
Hmm.
I'm not, here to dish anybody else's
No, no,
buildings,
no,
but
no, no, no.
it's just good.
We want
It's
to
a
talk about the
quality. It's
quality
quality.
that we're talking to. Yeah.
Right. So that's pretty important. And also the garages. That's a product that I miss when we're doing the garages. I don't know. We had one sitting out here if you've
Sure.
seen it. The bigger garages especially will do the floor joists at every 12 inches instead of 16 inches. That way you can actually drive your car up in there if you want
Hmm.
to.
Hmm.
So that's another thing to take note of is when you're looking at the pricing on these, that's common standard. The Solex insulation is a real thin foil type. It goes between the wood framing and the metal,
Hmm.
and you can get it if you order a building. You can get it on the whole thing. It works as a kind of a vapor barrier, air barrier, whatever. But it comes standard on all of our buildings on the roof. And the main reason for that is metal tends to sweat during heat and
Right.
cold,
Right. Right.
heat temperature changes. So this will eliminate any condensation on the inside of your building.
Yeah, and that's
Um,
big. That is
it is.
huge.
It
I've
is.
I've been in buildings that's
Yeah.
condensating and where that building can't breathe.
Right.
That building has to breathe, and that
Right.
condensation, and
Yeah.
you've addressed that, and you've taken care of that
Right.
condensation problem. That's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. So that's on the roof is standard on all other buildings.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So you're going to be here soon, and one of the things that I want to share with everybody, we are really here at Ag City, and we're trying to get this worked out with our county, where we have actually a little tiny home village where we can actually have like Brubaker's tiny homes. You could, and here's the other thing on this buildings now, you're building them where they're already pre-designed to certain degrees, but you can finish them however you want to. So you got
Right.
plumbing and electricity in the building.
Right.
And so all of that's pre-done. So whenever you buy the building, all you got to do is worry about whether you're going to sheetrock. So if you look at this building here, this is one of your buildings, and we finished it up to make it
Yep.
into my little office. And we're actually adding a couple more of these buildings at kind of a visitor center we're looking at. So the buildings are just, as far as locating them. The other cool thing about the building is, like, for instance, there's planning and zoning and codes and all that stuff, but we're working with like an RV park concept, where if you have a RV park, they will work like an RV park, because you could actually put them in somewhere and pick them up and move them.
Right.
So it's not necessarily a stationary building. So in a lot of the codes and issues that you deal with, as long as it's not a permanent building and poured in concrete, so you got a little more flexibility in
Right.
some of the codes and stuff in some of these counties,
Right.
which is pretty cool.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, especially in the rural areas. Again, some of the different counties are different. You just gotta look at your local,
Right, sure.
depending where you're at. Most of the rural areas where there's new codes, like there's really no trouble. Um, I don't know where this is going to go. I did hear a thing on the state trying to do something where,
Right.
if it's considered a tiny home, the builder itself may need to do something. I don't know where that's going to
Well,
go, but
there's some
we'll
legislation
see.
up, and actually we've hired
Um,
an attorney to kind of look into it. We have kind of an odd county in a nice way. We have county commissioners, and they're elected, and so if you go up into the more of the ritzy, where they have 600
yeah,
on up to 1,300,000 or
yeah,
$2 million homes, we have commissioners said we just will not support a tiny home anywhere in
right,
that area.
yeah,
But as you move into the south part of our county, we're a little more rural. If you've got a grandparent or somebody you need to take care
yeah,
of, the tiny homes may fit. Or even where you have kids that are growing up and maybe they want to come home or come live at a little lower cost, you can help provide them a place, either whether it's on the farm or whether it's where it's at. So you've got a really good place for these tiny homes to fit, to help lower the cost of whether you're on your retirement age and you don't need that big old
yeah,
house, or whether you're getting started and you can't afford a house.
right,
So those are two things that tiny home just really, really fixes. And we're really excited about, over the next 10 years, really seeing these little tiny home villages or places, and these families come together, and it seems like, the first thing they're wanting to learn how to do chickens, and
yeah,
or their family does. So there's just a lot of cool things that happens where you got a place to live, and there's a lot of connections.
yeah,
People, all they talk and they have this to do and that to do. So it's a pretty cool evolution, either whether you're really young or whether you're really old.
right,
So we're
absolutely.
pretty excited about seeing this develop.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, you hit on a little bit, like what you get for the quality, and like the quality you get for the price
Hmm.
is it's really good. It is.
And you know what? It's kind of like buying a car, buying one that resale value good or not so good. So when you buy one of Brubaker's tiny homes, yeah, just say all of a sudden you've grown out of it. It's for sale.
Yeah,
You can
exactly,
come and pick it
exactly.
up.
Yeah,
So if it's on,
no
on
problem.
your parents' farm, or if you're on a lot, it's your building.
Correct.
And I have heard, and I think there's some development where people are actually working on figuring on financing. How if you put so much down, there's people will finance the tiny home,
Yeah,
and so you get your payments really low. So there's just so many ways to be low cost living, other than going to some big apartment complex way downtown and living where,
correct.
I did hear recently, Kansas City has now become one of the top crime places in the United
That's
States.
scary.
And so, do you want to send your kids off
Yeah,
to that kind of stuff, or is you an old person? Do you want to live in that area? People love to get out in the country. People where they wave and go buy a
yeah,
pie and go to a garden and enjoying that lifestyle. A tiny home may be an opportunity.
correct, correct.
So,
And yeah, it's like a very common thing I've seen is people have a second property, especially here around the lakes.
right,
It's great for that. Some of those are temporary. You want to move it. It's portable.
Well, you
It's
mentioned earlier, and I'm okay. When I was young, and I lived in Kansas City, and I lived in Van Brunt and Troost, and we lived in a trailer park, and I grew up my early years in a trailer. It has its pluses, has its minuses, but to me, and I know their qualities have changed a
it
lot,
has improved.
but to me, these little tiny homes are just so affordable, and the quality is so good. They last forever.
That's the difference. Is the affordability of them
Yeah.
compared to trailers.
Yeah.
Like you said, the trailer houses have improved. Definitely, the quality has improved. But the affordability of them is it's not there like these tiny homes.
Yeah.
And you can do the interior finishes in very simple material, like you did here. You know what I mean?
I
And
did
it's
this with
cheap.
wood,
It's cheap.
and what we did here is, we put some light wood down, then we put a wood floor, and we took an LP burner and we burnt the floor, and then we lacquered it, and we got a fantastic
Yeah,
little office for, I mean, pennies.
it's
I couldn't go anywhere and buy or build or do anything cheaper than we've done this little,
correct.
and this is where we're shooting all of our videos.
Correct. It's beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It
it's done
looks
good.
good.
Well, hey, we've made this a little bit maybe longer than we should, but as we wrap up, is there anything, Dan, that you'd like to share with our group, our people that's watching our podcast today?
I think we covered it pretty good. Yeah, the one thing I don't think we did mention is we do offer 50 miles free delivery
50
from
miles free delivery.
either one of our locations. We have a location here in Garden City,
Hmm.
Rich Hill, where the builder's at, and in Stockton.
Okay.
So any of those locations, 50 miles free delivery. But yeah, I think we pretty much covered it.
Well, and then so since you mentioned that, so let's just say they're 75 miles away. What's that other 25 miles costing?
$5 a mile after the 50
Oh,
miles.
at $5 a mile after the
Yep,
50 miles. So if you're 10 miles over, it's an extra 50
50
bucks.
bucks exactly.
And so if you're 100 miles over, that's what,
500 bucks.
500
Yeah,
bucks. So it's not that expensive,
exactly,
even if you get out of that 50-mile circle.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, guys and gals, friends and neighbors, we're so happy to have Dan here today and representing Brewbakers here on the corner at Little Piece of Heaven here at Junction T and 7 at Ag City. And so just remember, stop by anytime on your way to the lake. We're on 7 Highway, about 12 to 15,000 cars a day come by. And stop by and visit with us. We're putting in a visitor center and a tourism center here so you can get all the education, all the cool things that's going on in rural America. And there's about 15 businesses here on the corner to either go eat or get something from or enjoy what we call the quality life of agriculture. So thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you on the turnaround.